Okay. All right. A very good evening to one and all. So, welcome to. Come on. So, welcome to another. Welcome to yet another live session, a photography live session of mine. I have a lot of stuff over here, so hopefully it's going to be a very interesting uh, session today. So this live broadcast is coming to you both on my YouTube channel as well as my Facebook. So let's see how it goes. So let me just get up some of the things ready here. So the whole session, the plan on how I plan to do this is going to be more about using some of the accessories, more on shooting technique and other things. So meanwhile, let me start saying hello to all the viewers. So let me just get online and check. So my camera is quite far. I cannot read all the comments coming in over there. So let's see. Oops. So once again, good evening to all of you. So let's catch up on some interesting topic today. So just give me a couple of minutes while I set up these things. Okay, good. So I mean, the kind of technology we have today, a lot of this photography related knowledge sharing can happen online, live, where I can take up your questions and talk to you all in an interactive way. So let's see how's it going. Okay, all right. So what's the dinner? Okay, guys, can some of you just give me hello and let me know how the voice is? Like, hope I'm actually trying to talk quite loudly since my camera is a little bit far. So let me know how the audio signal is and we can get going. So again, very good evening to one and all. So Ajay, Sujan, oh okay, Sujan, you're online. Mani, Ajay Kapoor, uh, Tima. So I think people from all over the world are joining in. So that's always nice. So again, just to get started, a lot of fantastic stuff over here. That music was from my laptop. Just a preview. It just got switched on. Oh yeah, the leopard near the highway. So yeah, before we actually get started, let me just share that small experience about that leopard on the highway. The kind of leopard luck. I don't know how many of you have seen that photograph. So what happened was, so I was driving back from Wayanad. So I crossed the Karnataka border, and since I was traveling alone in my Tata Safari, and there was a watcher over there, like with his backpack, everything. So I realized that he is waiting for a drop. So he didn't even ask me for a drop. He was just standing there, so probably waiting for a bus or some other pickup. So and I just stopped there and asked him like whether he wants any lift. I see, and he was surprised. I said, "Yeah, I mean, if you can drop me to Gundlpet, which is the next town." So I said, "Okay, hop on." And I mean, I had all my stuff in the passenger seat, my camera, then bean bag, other stuff. So I just pushed it in the back seat, and he sat over and we started driving. And we were having just general chat. Normally, I just talk to them, find out a lot of watchers, what kind of difficulty they face, what are the challenges they face in the kind of weather or whatever. They're the foot patrolling soldiers, so of the forest, who actually take care of the forest. So I was just talking to him, generally chatting, and then we were driving, and then it was a straight road. It's the highway, fantastic road with multiple speed breakers to make sure you don't drive fast. So I was driving down, and suddenly in the middle of the road, 10:30, the exact time, middle of the road, I see this leopard sitting right in the middle. Huge, huge leopard. And when I looked at its sitting pose, the tail up like this, and then concentrating in the front. Immediately, like there was a lorry coming from the front, so I waved at the lorry, asked him to stop there. So behind there was another tempo pickup van or something, so I just waved my hand, asked them to stop. And the first thing is like, where is my camera? Like, so the camera was in the back seat. So I asked the watcher, saying immediately I had the seat belt on, so I stopped the vehicle quite far, took off my seat belt, and then immediately like asked him to give the camera. And then I took the camera, and I just peeped outside to shoot, and that's when I realized the lens cap is on. So bad, bad, very bad, Sudhir. So the lens cap was on, and then by the time I could remove the lens cap and give it to him, the leopard walked and just crossed the road. Crossed, and it was a slight down, so the leopard got down over there. And then I drove further and then stopped, and I saw, I mean, like suddenly the leopard is running behind. It was a small area, you must have seen the photograph, very bushy, lot of shrubs over there. And the leopard got down and running behind a spotted deer. And I'm like, oh God, it's going to kill. So then I took my camera ready, and then the moment I saw behind the tree action happening, it jumped on the leopard. So the leopard jumped on the spotted deer, caught hold by the neck, and pulled it down. And then there was just one small gap, and just took a few shots. It was holding it by the neck. There was a little bit of struggle between the two, hardly few seconds. And then all those shots I got, holded it, and then it just dragged it inside the forest. All this right beside the main highway. And in the front and back, lorry, other vehicles, they just stopped. The leopard took it and just went inside, and then we carried on. I mean, that's luck. So in fact, even in my photo tours and workshops, I keep saying that the safari is not over until it is actually over. You can never know like at what point, where, what do you get. So you always have to be ready, keep your camera, everything ready. My mistake, the lens cap was not taken out. Always in the forest, expect the unexpected. So I remember even our Bandipur trip long time back, Manju Mohan, I think the group we had gone. 6:30 we were supposed to come out, 6:25 and nothing. People are arrayed, everything is done, let's pack up. I said, we still have 5 minutes, hold on. That is when Prince, he basically like walked head on, just we were two vehicles, I believe, just two jeeps. It was a weekday. Head on it came, and then like just went beside our vehicle. People who know Prince in Bandipur, they know is very bold male tiger, least bothered over the vehicles. So walked across, went, marked on the tree, and just went on. 5 minutes, we got our shots. I remember even one of my Kabini workshops, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, totally dry, nothing. And 6:15, we were on the 5 kilometer road, last June, I believe, on the 5 kilometer road, and then we are turning back, and then the leopard, the temple male leopard, what we call in Kabini, right there. So 6:20, so we took a few shots, and then we had to leave. I think it was 6:15 or something. So a lot of vehicles, we got our shots. That just 5 minutes made all the difference, and that's wildlife. Okay, so cool. Let's let's move on to the main topic. I believe we do have quite a number of viewers. Let me just check. Okay, cool. So let's get started. So today what I'm going to talk about is more to do with some of the accessories what I use for my wildlife, and that is what I would recommend for others, not only in wildlife, even in other genre of photography. Okay, so I have different accessories out here. Now let me go one step behind before I start talking about these things. I have seen a lot of questions. So morning when I posted about the evening session, so I did ask what topic do you want to talk about. So all those various topics came in, and multiple times some of the questions which came in for this scenario, what should be my setting, and another one is like I'm having this setting, even I increase the ISO, I increase my shutter speed, and even though I increase my ISO, I still get very dark images. Why is that? So one thing as beginners, so a lot of beginners and amateurs, one key aspect what you guys miss out is understanding the very basics of photography, which is the exposure triangle. The very basics about ISO, aperture, shutter speed. I know of a lot of photographers who say that I know ISO, I know aperture, I know shutter speed, but I want to learn advanced photography. Let me be honest with you, and to be frank, there is nothing called as advanced photography. Knowing these three key parameters, of course, combined with metering and of course focusing points, other things comes, but this is the base. Okay, so this is the foundation of photography. This is where a lot of beginners they go wrong, and they believe that if you start shooting in manual mode, you are an expert. Nothing like that. Okay, the real expertise is understanding what each of those parameters does, what impact they have on your photograph, and using it accordingly. That's the core concept, and that is what I would advise. And I have explained all these things in a much more detailed way on my video tutorials. So please do sign up for my video tutorials. It's a 1 year subscription, and you can have unlimited access to a lot of video tutorials. Okay, so that is the basic background. Now, as a part of that, I keep getting a lot of queries saying how come your images are so sharp, or what are the things we should be doing to get sharp images. Now, image sharpness is dependent on multiple factors. First one, obviously, the quality of the lens you are using. So you may have to check the MTF chart of the lens to check the sharpness, the contrast, the resolving power of the lens. So all those various parameters you have to check, and please don't use a UV filter. A low quality UV filter, it degrades the image quality by 30, 40, 50%. I've personally seen that. Please do not use UV filters. UV filter does not have any role in digital photography. Okay, so after that, so once you have a very good lens, that is one of the parameters responsible for sharp images. Then comes even the aperture what you use. So depth of field also comes into picture, what aperture you are using. Then camera to subject distance, that also matters. So people feel that if the subject is very far, I have a very powerful good lens, long tele lens, I shoot, I zoom in 100%, every detail I have to see. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. The resolving power will not be able to basically resolve the sharpness or details of a subject if it is very far. It just doesn't work. Next comes the other very important parameter, which is the shooting technique. And all this various stuff what I have kept here, that is what I'm going to talk about. Okay, shooting technique is one of the very important parameters to produce sharp images. Be it handheld, be it using a monopod, using a tripod, or using any kind of accessories what you can. Okay, so it depends on all these various parameters. So let me talk about some of these things what I personally use in the field. Now, in my safaris, in the vehicle, when I'm shooting alone, when I'm on my serious work, I always go with the tripod. So this is my main tripod what I have. So this is the Gitso carbon fiber 6S tripod. Let me keep this down for a minute. So what I do is I remove the center seat of my vehicle. So I use the tripod for my stability. So let me, I think, just put up some of the things. There you go. So of course for my 800 I have put a different lens plate. So I'll just keep it as it is. So this is my 400 2.8. There you go. Okay. Okay, and this you go down. Okay, all these are the setup which you have to do. Okay, you're over there. Come here, my friend. So wildlife photography is not straightforward. You need a lot of different accessories. There you go. Okay, so I'm basically putting my lens plate. So this is a very special lens plate which goes with the, where are you? Okay, so there you go. So which goes with the Shuttler fluid head. So let me just put this on. 2 screws. Okay, yeah, let me just put it over there. That is faster. All kind of accessories. My Allen screw. Yeah, this is faster. There you go. This is out now. So I'm just putting in my lens plate for the 800 So 400 you please be to the side. So let me show you how these things work. So any of you who have the long lens, any of you have the long lens who have the budget. So these are the basic things which you should have. Okay, give me 1 second. This needs to go in. just down here. Okay, that's it. So I carry a 1 rupee coin to basically tighten it. There we go. And this is my 800 mm. So for the 800 mm, I have the setup ready now. So this is my shackler fluid head. So as you can see over here, okay, so I use the FSB8 fluid head. Okay, so I just put this. So this is a short key which basically gets connected here. Okay. There you go. Oops. All right. Okay. I will not be able to show the demo of this because I have to remove this, and the screw, the spanner for this is in a different room. So forget it. So basically, what happens is this fluid head goes on top, and then the lens sits here on top, and then I loosen it. I can easily shoot everything from this. The fluid head works extremely well. So hopefully, I'll show the other demo of how I use these things. So yeah, this I have to remove and put it the reverse way. It's too tight, I can't remove it. So let me just remove this and go back to my other experiment. Of course, so when you're out there in the field, you will not have time to do all these things. Obviously, beforehand you have to decide what exactly you're going to use and be ready with that. There you go. So I'm just putting back my other lens plate. Okay, all set. Good. So the fluid head is one of the things what I use for all my shoot. Now the other very important thing. There you go. Okay. So this has to be removed. Oh, okay, hold on. I think I can manage this. This is tough. Never mind. So the other very important thing, accessories which you should be carrying is this a very cheap Manfrotto clamp actually. So if you look at the way this is designed, okay, so we all travel in the gypsies and other vehicles. So this clamp, as you can see, this goes inside and this you can tighten it. And then the top thing what you see here, basically the ball head or fluid head, your Wimberley head, any of those things basically goes on the top of this. So you can clamp it to the bar of your gypsy, put the ball head, everything, and you can shoot. So this gives you again good kind of flexibility for all your shoots. Of course, so this even I have tried this in Masai Mara for the 800mm lens. So for the long lens, 800mm lens, easily it can hold. Of course, this may tilt unless you have not tightened it. So those things you have to basically keep in mind. Okay. So this is the other accessory what I have for my wildlife shoot. Of course, I use only one at a given time. I do not use everything. What else do I have? Next comes the most important thing. Okay. This is the bean bag. Okay. So beanbag is one of the most widely used accessory for wildlife photography from the vehicle. So obviously, if you don't have a place for a tripod and other things, then beanbag is what you use the max. Now, let me show you the normal usage how we use the beanbag. So the beanbag comes in different shapes, sizes, other things. So this is something which I ordered from the US. Small, compact one, but works very well. So let me keep it to the center to give you the demonstration on how this works and also the issue what we face. Okay, so we place the beanbag in the Jeep on the bar, platform, whatever we get, and then the normal way what we shoot. Again, the lens collar normally it goes up when you're shooting. Okay, so this it sits on the tripod like this on the beanbag. Okay, so this is the normal shooting position what we have when we are in the wild out there. Now, the major issue with this kind of a shooting. Okay, so what happens is, if you notice, fine, if the subject is static, I leave it, absolutely no issue. This is very, very stable. So you can just go and shoot. The major issue what you face, okay, is basically like if the subject starts to move, then what you normally do is obviously you start moving the lens along with the subject. Okay, now the major issue for all the long lens, I don't know whether you'll be able to notice, this is my focusing ring. If you see, because of the way we place the lens, long lens on the bean bag, when you turn the lens along with the subject is moving, crossing the road, any of those things is running. When you move the lens along with the subject, as you can see, the focusing ring rotates. That's a major drawback when you use a bean bag for wildlife or for any kind of photography. Now, there is a very nice, fantastic workaround for that. That's basically the panning plate. Okay, so let me just show you how the panning plate is. So this is what a panning plate is. Okay, so what I do is I just, so you can see the design is very simple and straightforward. So the lens plate, the universal lens plate works for this. So I'm going to slide this in. Okay, there you go. I'm going to slide it in, tighten it. Okay, and obviously now you have to basically rotate, flip the collar. So it goes down. Okay, there you go, locks itself. And then I basically, this you can turn it however you want. And then I place it on the bean bag. Okay, now once you place this on the bean bag, as you can see, there is good amount of gap. Again, absolutely fantastic stability, no issues. So what I do is hold the lens like this, beanbag supported, and as you can see, it just rotates. Okay, this is a panning pod, and this one I ordered it from the B&H. So if you have to get it to India, it's going to be very expensive. So there is a cheaper version of this, an alternative similar kind of panning pod which my friend manufactures here in Bangalore. So he can courier it to anywhere in India. Please do email me, message me if any of you are interested in buying this panning pod. The Indian cost is in the range of 13,000 rupees. If you order this one, I ordered it from the US and I ended up paying around 28,000 rupees. Okay, 28 to 30,000 INR is what I paid for this. You same quality, almost everything being the same. So me and my friend, we designed it together. So he manufactured it and it's available in Bangalore. So please do get in touch with me and I can give you his contact and you directly deal with him. So I'm just helping him, that's all. So as you can see, you can easily move this. And the other major advantage with this kind of a setup is you can even do manual focusing. In the previous situation where you directly kept the lens on the bean bag and you tried to do manual focusing, it's not possible, it's very difficult. Here there's a huge gap. Because of this huge gap, go ahead, place this and then you can rotate it. Okay, so this is basically one of the key shooting technique what you can employ for your wildlife photography. And the same thing, this when you're shooting from a car also, the beanbag can go on the window of the car and even from your car you can shoot this. Very helpful. What is the other stuff? Okay, there you are. Okay, so this is quite helpful, and also if suddenly you want to do handheld photography, the whole thing, you can basically, this one, you can rotate it. So you can rotate it, handheld, and then you can go ahead and shoot it. So worst case scenario, if you have to do handheld photography, just lift it and you start shooting it. Okay, so these are some important different accessories. Okay, so different accessories what you can use when it comes to getting sharp images, the shooting technique what I basically use. And the other very important thing is basically your monopod. Okay, so monopod is another very important accessory where some of the situations you are in northeast, you're traveling a lot, you trek, hike a lot, and you can't carry the tripod everywhere. So in those kind of situations, so I would highly recommend you all to use a monopod. Of course, when it comes to the brand, you have Manfrotto, you have of course the Gitzo is one of the top end ones. So Gitzo, Manfrotto, V-Guard, Benro. I mean, like V-Guard is the stabilizer, which is that Vanguard, sorry, Benro. So there are a lot of these different manufacturers. And another very important tip when it comes to buying a tripod is basically a tripod, monopod, any of this, is make sure the load bearing capacity of this has to be 3 times the weight of your equipment. So if your overall equipment weight is in the range of say 4 to 5 kgs, then the supporting the load bearing capacity of your tripod, monopod has to be at least 15 to 20 kgs to get better stability. Okay, so that is a small specs what you have to check for, and of course the height, other things comes into picture. Okay, So this is yeah, there you go. This is a Vanguard ball head. Okay, so these are the different accessories what I use. So let me just keep this here. Okay, yeah, probably in some of the next one I will show you how to use the shackler. It's just the screw, it's very tight, I couldn't remove it. Ah, that's okay. And then last but not the least, the nice small one. This is basically the Joby tripod. Okay, so this is what we call as a gorilla pod. Quite useful, quite useful. So as you can see, let me just show you how this works. So as you can see, this guy can get onto anything, literally anything. Okay, so let me just increase the height of the tripod just to show you. Okay, so when you're traveling, and that is mainly for to support a smaller lens. Okay, so wide angle lens. In fact, I have tried even 70-200 lens. I have tried for that. Okay, so this guy can get onto anything. So if you want to basically put a camera on a bar rail, okay, all you have to do is basically hold it and then just tighten it. There you go. So just these are all the tentacles what this guy has, and of course this is a tripod, so it's going to fall. So this is how you basically tie. Even you are out there in the wild, you have a tree as a supporting stuff. Of course not for wildlife. This is more used for landscape photography and other forms of photography. Okay, so you can bend, it can do anything. Just hang on to any of the supporting bars, rod, tree, whatever you have. This guy just gets on, and here as you can see, you can just directly connect a camera to this. So the camera gets onto this directly. If you have a 70-200 lens, and then basically the 70-200 lens, the 70-200 lens has a collar, and this guy can directly go into that. There you go. Okay. Okay, so there you go. So this way, as you can see, and of course the camera comes over here. Attach the camera, and this whole setup you can just tie to various things. Okay. Super. So these are all the different accessories what I use when it comes to my photography. And if you want to get sharp, crisp, sharp images, this is extremely important. And sorry folks, I have not been able to see the comments which have been coming on. So just give me some time. So once I finish this, then I'll get on to all the various questions. And even in fact, before I get on to the questions, there have been some questions what some of you have posted in the morning. So I will be able to answer that. Okay. What else is pending? Yeah, this is my studio in my house, where one of the bedrooms I converted into studio. All my video tutorials I shoot from here. This is my work area. I have my two systems over here. I'm just trying to look around and see if there's anything which I can show you, and basically tell you like how exactly I work in the field, what are the things I do. So I have my what is that, hectocopter laying over there. I have my Ronin M over here. What else? My all the various stuff. Okay, too many stuff laying around here. Okay, so yeah, there you go. So these are the key accessories what I use normally for my wildlife photography. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll take up some of the questions. So morning when I had posted about this session. Okay, you come to the side, don't block me. Okay, so morning when I had posted about this live chat, so there were already a few questions which came in. So let me just take up some of those questions, and then I will take all the other live questions which are coming in. I'm going to take it up. Okay, so just give me some time. There you go. Okay, out of the 70 comments, let me come from top. View previous comments. My water. Okay. Oh, okay. I think Sudhindra Rao, I think you had asked about all these accessories. So thanks for asking. There you go. Major portion of my presentation, I was able to cover that, Sudhindra. Okay. Okay. Fine. I said I'm going to take this up. The question was from Alan. So Alan Jacob, your question saying while photographing subjects like sloth bear or black leopard, wow, That's nice. So while photographing any of the black subjects, so sometimes it's difficult to get the details of the eye. Can you share some light on this topic? Okay. So yeah, I need this support. Let me reduce this. This is a nice stand to lean against and then start answering all these questions. Okay, yeah. So basically, like the question is obviously shooting black color subjects. So I am shooting black subjects, and then how do I basically see another use of the beanbag? In fact, the other thing I forgot to tell you. So during some of my safaris, when we do full day safaris, right, in Bandhavgarh, Khana, Tadoba, any of these places, I mean you're there for the whole day. So this beanbag serves as an excellent pillow to sleep, take rest in the forest. I do it a lot of times. Okay, so coming back to the question about shooting black subjects, black eye. So how do we get those details? Now, one of the key important things again, what you have to remember, it goes back to the basic what I started off with, the exposure triangle parameters. Now, the other thing is this is connected to another question which somebody had asked about the dynamic range of the camera. So if you have to get good details when you're shooting a black color subject to show the black eye, getting the catch light is very important. More than anything, your exposure has to be spot on. Okay, so exposure when you're shooting a black color subject, depending on what kind of background you have, depending on what kind of metering mode you are using, depending on the camera to subject distance, a lot of these parameters comes into picture, and getting the dynamic range correct is one of the key factors to get those clear, crisp, sharp images with details. Okay, so if you are able to get good dynamic range, then fine. And if it's just a black subject, if you want to get details of the black subject alone, forget about the background. If the dynamic range, the camera is not able to handle the dynamic range, then go with the exposure on the black color. So if I have to just give you how exactly to go about, you can use spot metering. So use spot metering on the black color subject, and then depending on how far, how much frame filling, make sure the spot is on the black, and then depending on how black, how dark the subject is, you may have to underexpose by -1, -1 2/3 stop to get the details in the black. Okay, so if you go with zero exposure compensation, obviously it will get overexposed, it's not going to work. So keep that in mind when it comes to shooting any of the black color subject. Dynamic range is important, getting your metering on the dot, on the spot, spot metering or evaluative, any of those things, as long as you know how they work, that should do. Okay, so Alan, hopefully that should help you understand. Okay, so Ayan Chakraborty, you had asked about shooting in harsh condition against the sun. So you're asking about like shooting against the sun, how to basically do it. So let me just get my laptop here. Okay. Yeah, this is better. Okay, so Ayan, so your question about basically in harsh situation against the sun. Now this again goes back to the same thing about exposure triangle parameters, your metering concept, getting a base of that. That is very important. Okay, see, as you see, any of the beginners question, a lot of beginners, whatever questions you ask, it goes back to the basics. Okay, which is understanding about the exposure triangle parameters, each of them, what they do, combined with metering, exposure compensation. That's the key. Okay. And if you want to get complete details about it, if you want to become an expert on that from a knowledge point of view, sign up to my video tutorials. I go in depth explaining each of the concepts. Okay, my website learn.sudhirshivaram.com. Okay, visit that. Okay, now I think there were two questions regarding ISO. Nishant, you had asked, and okay, Chandrasekhar. So Nishant and Chandrasekhar both both of you had asked about ISO. Let me take it up. Now, the ISO performance of a camera is directly related to the sensor what the camera has. Okay. So in those situations, let me help you come up with a small experiment to figure out what I call as the shootable ISO of a camera. Okay. It's my own terminology what I have come up with. Okay, not suitable but shootable ISO. Okay, what is the best ISO which you can go up to get decent, good, sharp images? So what is that shootable ISO of that camera? So a small experiment is in the dark area. This is more on low light photography. So what you have to do is basically go ahead in low light situation, shoot the same scene, include little bit of dark objects, because shadow area, dark objects is where you see noise prominently. Okay, so what you have to do is shoot the same scene, okay, at different ISO, whatever your camera supports, from the lowest to the highest. And then once you have all those images, copy to your system and start going through the images, view at 50% or even 100%. So keep viewing each of the images one after the other. And then when you jump from a particular ISO to the next ISO, you will start seeing a lot of noise. Okay, so it's like you keep doing next, keep saying you're in between. In this particular image, I think the noise is a little bit more. Go back to the previous, I think this image is acceptable. So check what is that ISO, and that is the shootable ISO for that camera in low light situation to get quality images. Okay, so you have an option in the camera to set the max ISO in auto mode and also the minimum ISO. So that I would set it as the max. Okay, for under no circumstances, if you are bothered about noise-free images, keep that as the max, or even for other kind of shooting, don't go beyond that ISO. Okay, so that is the max ISO what that camera, that sensor supports. And to be honest, a similar model, a similar Canon model of a different one may not give the same result. So this is specific to the camera model, that particular camera equipment what you have. So you have to do this experiment. Okay, so and of course do it for a regular lens what you normally use. So that is basically to control the ISO, to make sure you go at the max but still get quality images. Okay, so that's a small experiment what I would recommend you all to do when it comes to understanding the quality of images from an ISO performance point of view. Okay. Okay, so at this point what I can do is get my Facebook camera closer. Okay. Okay, so this way I can start seeing all the questions coming up, and I can keep answering. Of course, my YouTube channel camera is still on, so I don't think I can take up questions from YouTube, but YouTube, the HD quality, it gives a panoramic view of the entire thing, so that is really good about YouTube channel. But Facebook, I can be very interactive and take up all these various queries coming in. Okay. Okay, Phil, Sudhindra. Okay, thank you, Sudhindra. Glad I caught your comment in time. Okay, PK Raja, that's right. So grains, higher ISO does impact on the quality of the image with respect to the grains, and that is the experiment what I just explained. Okay. Wow, too many questions. Okay, so sorry, I can't go back and check all the questions. Okay. Okay, let me complete the questions what people have asked. So my priority goes to that. Okay, so Anish Sinha, let me take up your question, an interesting one. So about advanced equipment with pricing details. So if anyone wants to be in photography, how much investment required as a beginner and as professionals? Okay. Now, or how to take the step of investments in camera and lenses as is most important for all. Okay, good one, Anish. So it's more to do with the budget to basically get into good photography. That is what I would say. Akshay, you want me to get the spanner? Okay, guys, just hold on because that was a good one. Let me get my spanner very fast. I know where it is. Just hold on. Let me get my spanner. Hold on. See, there you go, not even 5 seconds. This, in fact, once it happened in the forest where I was in the safari when I was carrying these things. So, generally, in my group, I asked my participants, saying, what do you think we should do if we come across a tiger which has loose nuts? So, everybody were like, what could be the answer, all those. That's when I showed saying, we have to just tighten it. Okay, so I carry this all around. Now, before I take up the questions, there you go. Important stuff. That's all. That is what took so much time. There you go. Okay, let me just complete this one and then come back to the question. So that way I can at least cover all the various aspects. You come back here. So this one again goes, okay, this way. Okay, so this goes like this. So you go back a little so that I can, oops. So you go back a little so that I can show the demo of this thing. Okay, so this is my tripod. You can see the top portion of the tripod. So this guy goes here and this goes in. There you go, it's the reverse what I put. No wonder it didn't work. Okay, this is the right way. There you go. Okay, so this goes in here like this, and this is to tighten it. All right, done. Okay, so this guy is now totally set. So height wise I think this is fine. So come here my friend. Okay, my Allen screw. So I'll have to put back my lens plate. Let me finish it. Ha. Genie. Ha ha. Perfect timing for this guy not to work now. There you go. Okay. One works. Okay, not required. Stay here. So this lens plate. Okay. Looks like again it will not work. One thing or the other thing fails. My God, I'm so sorry. Okay, let me not waste time. I'm so sorry, guys. The Allen's. So one thing works, the other fails. That is the genie, what we call the demo genie. It happens even in a software company. When we try to show a demo for the clients, everything fails. Okay, till such time the clients come in, everything is working absolutely fine. And when we show, and the time comes to show the actual demo to the clients, okay, and the application just doesn't work. It starts failing. Okay, the demo genie, what we call, happens in a software company a lot. Never mind, sorry for that. Let me just get this straight, and let's continue with the Q&A what we had. Okay, cool. So that was Chandrasekhar's query. Next, okay, so Abhijit, you had asked the same question about sharpness of the subject. Answer is the same. So you had asked about getting sharply focused eye of a bird in harsh situation. So there you go. That again goes back to the same stuff about getting the exposure triangle parameters right. Okay. Okay. Okay, Abhijit Roy, let me just explain to you about the concept of dynamic range. So what is a dynamic range? In fact, even that time I did talk about it, about dynamic range, especially for black subjects. Now, So for me to explain to you about dynamic range, this chart is quite useful. So in my studio, everything is just around. So in fact, I had shown you this chart in one of my previous talks as well. So this is quite important when it comes to understanding about dynamic range. So each bar is basically one stop, and a lot of cameras nowadays basically support a dynamic range of 10 stops, 12 stops, 13 stops, whereas our human eye range of dynamic range stop value is 25 to 50 stops actually. Okay, each doubling one stop at a time. So that is where the camera cannot capture reality. And that is where the concept of HDR images, high dynamic range, comes in. So in simple terms, if I have to tell you, in the same scene, if there is dark as well as bright tonality, okay, lighting, let me keep it simple, bright subject, dark subject, both of them in the same frame. And if you try to compare the shutter speed, so you aim at the dark area, you get a very slow shutter speed. You aim at the bright area, you get a very high shutter speed. Common thing. Okay. So in that kind of a situation, if you compare the stop value difference between two of them, so if the stop value difference is anywhere from say 2 to 3 to 4 stops variation, then something is compromised. So using that concept is where you get high key and low key images. In fact, my previous session was about high key and low key images. So you can go back and play back the video what I had for the previous one. Okay, so that's about yours. Now again, come close, my friend. Let me just start taking up all the other questions. So Janit, thank you so much. So guys, now I'll start asking question. I don't want to go back all the way. Now again, going back to the same thing, which is the best camera to buy, which is the best lens to buy. So on my website, I have given a detailed explanation, because here explaining things, it's going to take a lot of time when it comes to which is the best camera lens. So there is nothing called as the best camera or the best lens. So everything boils down to what you want, what is your budget. Okay, so there you go. Okay, Rohan Gandhi, hello. So Mohammed, hello. Because how can I access your photography lesson? So because it's very straightforward, learn.sudhirshivara.com. So I'll go back and keep answering a lot of these comments which are coming in. Okay, I will make sure I do that. So learn.sudhirshivara.com. So 1200D, Canon 70T, guys, go ahead. All these are good cameras. I mean, like any camera with the latest technology, they all are really good. All you have to do is go for a good lens. Okay. Okay, so Nishit, that's correct. So clouds, bright, dark area in the landscape. If you want to cover both of them, either you need an ND filter to cut down the light. You can use a graduated ND filter, or even Vario for other kind of things. So it all varies. Himanshu, hey Himanshu, yes, I remember meeting you at Satal. You came all the way, so it was indeed good meeting you at Satal. Good to see you around here. Okay, even though my memory is very limited, certain things I still do remember. So Sudhindra, yes, going forward on my video tutorials, next 6 months is my time is dedicated fully to the video tutorials. I have a lot of ideas in mind. So Samir, yes, I do have a YouTube channel, and right now this broadcast is being sent live on my YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/c/Sudhir Shivara Photography. So that is my YouTube channel, C for channel, youtube.com/c/Sudhir Shivara Photography. That's my YouTube channel. Okay. Sahir, my website, learn.sudhirshivara.com. Very easy to remember. Okay. Now, so Sambit, does brand matter in terms of tripod? Yes, up to some extent it does matter, depending on the cost, quality, all those comes into picture. Maruti 800 also you can drive on the road, a Ferrari also you can drive on the road. Features, functionalities, cost matters a lot. Okay. Okay, I think I saw one question on metering. Let me take it up. Okay, Vineet, let me take up your question. Please explain metering modes and which you prefer the most. Okay, now again, this goes back to getting a good understanding about metering itself. What does spot metering do? What does evaluative or matrix metering do? Your partial metering, center weighted metering. So main thing is the exposure triangle parameters. If you are shooting in say shutter priority mode, that means you put a shutter speed at a given ISO, camera gives you an aperture. So on what basis that camera gives you an aperture? Or if you're in aperture priority mode at a given ISO, you put an aperture, camera gives a shutter speed. on what basis does it give? That is purely dependent on the metering mode what you use, spot metering, evaluating, any of those. So it's all about reflective light metering system what your camera supports. So it depends on basically like how much light is getting reflected from the subject. Camera tries to expose it as a medium tone subject. It's quite complex, but very simple if you start understanding things. Okay, so once you understand what metering does, that is when you go ahead and decide whatever kind of metering mode you want to use as a photographer. Okay, so in my wildlife, I normally don't use spot metering a lot because at any time action may happen. So I cannot keep a spot on the subject or preset my manual mode unless I'm waiting at one place in the standard standard light where it's uniform in that area. Then I go into the manual mode. Otherwise, I use 1DX Mark II. I use these are top of the line equipments from Canon, Nikon D5, D4S, any of this top of the line. The metering systems are absolutely brilliant, especially for Canon 1DX Mark II. Their metering system has evolved a lot. So I use evaluative, and based on the average tonality in my scene, I go ahead and use my exposure compensation. Okay, so I prefer evaluative metering a lot. Oops, sorry. Okay, a lot of still hello and hi's coming in. Good evening, guys. Some of you joining in now. So Suman, in fact, in one of my very previous, earlier this year, I think, or last year, I had done a post-processing workshop. So I had done a live of the post-processing. It's there somewhere. Okay, my God, Rajat, I'll come reply as a comment on my website. Okay, so photography learn.sudhirshivara.com. Okay, you have to get the spelling right. Sudhir Shivaram, Shivaram. So Srujana, yes, leopard luck, easily it's possible. It's just you have to keep visiting, keep traveling multiple times. Okay, in fact, in the last 4-5 years, my leopard luck or my cat luck in Kabini has been so good. Touchwood. Okay, it's so good that every single of my photo tours, what I've done to Kabini, I have 100% track record for showing leopard, tiger, anything for. Okay, I would not say all my participants. So I know recently Tushar and Siddhant, sorry. Tushar and Siddhant recently, two unlucky chaps, sorry. They didn't get anything. It's just unfortunate. The jeep in which they were swapping all those things, it's just, there's always a next time. But they enjoyed the photography a lot. Nikhil, questions related to storage. I think that was from Nikhil. Okay, what do I do now? Once I come back from my shoot, still I have to organize myself, but generally what I do is, let me just turn the camera around. I'll show you what I do for my storage. So let me turn the camera the other way. So there you go, just turn it down a little. Folks on YouTube, sorry, I cannot turn the camera, it's just stuck. I fix it with a rubber band, all those things. So what you see there, so there you go. This is my storage device. So this is a Netgear system which has a 4 TB, 4 disk it has, which is basically mirrored across. Okay, so this is my backup. This is one computer where I have all the data. So one primary and of course a backup. Then I have my laptop over there, and then I have external small hard disk. So at 4-5 different places I store my images. Okay. So let me come back, turn back. Okay. Oopsie. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I do for my storage, and my filtering process, it's very stringent. What I do is basically like if I have some 100, 200, 300,000 images, I scroll through the images and I create a separate folder called final shortlist. Okay, so I look at to keep looking, this good, move it to that folder. Keep going, this it's good, move it to the folder. Of course, when I say good, I have certain parameters for filtering my images. Okay, so and then say I keep looking from top all the way the thumbnails. This is good, move it. The rest, before all of them, I delete it. I close my eyes and just delete it, because for me that image matters. Where I keep looking at the thumbnails, and then I basically stop at that particular image. It catches my attention. Okay, so that's a wow image for me. Of course, with respect to the lighting, with respect to the exposure, sharpness, composition parameters, background distraction, how is the foreground, so size of the subject in the frame, where I have placed it. So there are a lot of parameters I use to filter out my images. If that matches it, that goes to the good folder, rest everything gets deleted. Okay. Uh, again, Narasimha, I use basically a combination of Adobe Camera Raw, then Canon DPP, the latest version. So that is to process my raw files. And if I'm shooting in Nikon, I do shoot in Nikon. I do have some Nikon images. So I use Capture NXD. So these are the tools I use for my raw processing. And from here, I basically move to Photoshop. Okay. So Mohit, if you have a 1DX, go for 402.8, 500mm, 600mm, 800mm, or 200, 400 with a built-in 1.4 converter. Each one are absolutely brilliant for wildlife photography. Depends on your purpose for wildlife, bird, budget, all those things. Buy any of this lens, you will not repent. Of course, avoid the 402.8 if you do a lot of bird photography with some mammals. Okay, so little bit those variations will be there. Okay. So Suman Bhattacharya, yes, that is my priority. So yes, some good news to a lot of those guys who have subscribed to my video tutorials. So I'm back from my long trips, and my next immediate trip, this is June 30th. So the whole month of July I'm not traveling anywhere, and August end is my Kabini workshop, August 24 I believe. Okay, so that is my next travel date, and in this time is where 100% I'll be concentrating on my online stuff, on my online video tutorials, online forums where a lot of you have already posted your photographs for critics and comments. So that is again my priority. I'll be taking up all those things going forward, and hopefully in the next week, so starting tomorrow. So my scripting for Capture NXD is already ready, so I just have to do the shoot. And unfortunately I just have a few Nikon files. So the files what I need for doing a video tutorial on Capture NXD, those specific files to play around with the raw, I don't have. So I have asked my friend Gautam from Book My Lens to lend me a couple of Nikon bodies and lenses to go do some shoots. So that is the priority. So you can look out for Capture NXD, Canon DPP. Both are on my priority to release it very soon. Okay, so that video tutorial will be out, and after that, of course, the passion to profession. I had asked for feedback from a lot of you. So converting your passion to profession, at least my path, what I have done and what works. So based on my knowledge, so that I'll be sharing. So that is the next one which is in the pipeline, but lot of online stuff. Okay. So Himanshu, like to be honest with you, trying to do an apple to apple comparison between Sony, Nikon, Canon, it's not the best thing to do. Because if you have to do an apple to apple comparison, the camera specs has to be almost same, the lens has to be almost same. Okay, a lot of those factors comes into picture. So to be honest, it's not too good to do an apple to apple between that. So I always look at any camera as a compromise of a set of features, camera, lens, any of those things. So every individual camera, be it Ricoh, Pentax, Canon, Nikon, Sony, I mean any of these cameras, each of those cameras are meant for a purpose. Every camera will have good qualities, will have some negatives, drawbacks, it will be there. Okay, even our life for that matter, nobody is perfect. Okay, so always work with the positive aspects. So that is what I strongly believe in. So if a particular camera has some really good features meant for your genre of photography, that should solve the purpose. That's it. I mean, I have my Canon 1DX, 1DX Mark II, 1D Mark IV, top of the line equipment. It doesn't have a built-in flash. Okay, a 20,000 rupees Canon 1200D has a built-in flash which I can use indoors and all those places. But my 4.5 lakh equipment doesn't have a built-in flash. But that's okay, I don't use flash. So that is where every camera has a set of compromise features. See what works best for you. Okay, so Sharad, the 2x extender for Canon 1200D, that's a wrong question. So you need to ask 2x extender for what lens the camera will support. Camera has got nothing to do with the teleconverter what you use. It's the lens which really matters. So it depends what lens you are using. Okay. So Darshan, using a Tamron or Sigma reduces quality, reduces sharpness. Sorry. Yes, definitely there will be a drop in the sharpness of the image. That is where the MTF charts comes into picture. But to be honest, if you use a Tamron lens, the 150-600 Tamron lens, I have used it. I have seen people using it in excellent lighting condition. The sharpness is good. Okay, you can't find the difference between a top end professional lens, Canon, Nikon, or that one in excellent lighting condition. Okay, so sharpness MTF chart is what you have to basically see. Okay, guys, I know a lot and lot of questions have come in. Difficult to go through every single question, but I will try my best. Once I finish this session, I go back and will try my best to answer as many questions as possible. Okay, so okay, this one. Gauri, to be honest, pursuing a career in wildlife photography, research is fine, but if you're after money, make it your career professional aspect to earn income. Sorry, there is not much scope in India, even abroad for that matter. It's a very, very tough competitive world. And to be honest, if I have to ask you, if I have to tell you, there's no market for that. There are not many people who are willing to buy the images. So wildlife photography earning very, very tough. Okay. Uh, Asim, very sorry, thermal distortions, there's not much you can do. So, in one of my posts, I had explained about the heat wave, how it affects your autofocusing system. Not much you can do. Just use a binocular or naked eye and just enjoy the scene. Okay. So, Shamik, the tips for learning wildlife behavior, you have to be out there in the field. Okay. Be there, out there in the field, carry a binoculars. That's the best thing. Okay. A lot of times, what I do is I wait at one particular place for a very long time, be it elephants. In fact, recently, last week when I went to Wayanad, I spent around 2.5 hours with three female elephants in the calf, and I got some of the best, amazing, amazing shots of that. Okay, covered in complete red mud, close-up shots with 800 mm, with 100, 400, 2.8. I just spent that entire morning safari only for that, and I got a lot of images. And then that is where sometimes I keep and then look at the behavioral aspect, especially what I noticed, the way they basically roll around in the red color mud over there. They even eat it, so it has minerals basically. So they were actually eating, took it from the trunk, and the way they ate, the way they rolled over. I mean, it was amazing. Okay, so that is where a lot of times, even when I go to Bharatpur for that matter, a lot of birds, amazing bird life in Bharatpur, especially in the month of December onwards. So I just spend my time watching the birds. So that is where, so no book or online internet can teach you the behavioral aspects. You have to be out there in the wild, make notes, observe that very frequently, and then that is how even you can be a better photographer, because next time you can predict as to what is going to happen. Okay, I mean, I've spent more than 20 years in wildlife, and that is where a lot of behavioral aspects, the prediction comes into picture, the concept of pre-visualization, all those comes into picture. So again, Gauri, how can I shoot in rain? Yes, you got to be very careful, where you may have to carry rain covers for your equipment. So the top of the line equipments, not much issue, because many of them are rain resistant, water resistant for that matter. So, but covering the equipment with, you get a lot of lens coat you get, and rain gear covers you get. So my advice is to use that. Is it advisable to extend your hand from a jeep to shoot wildlife from a lower angle? Suman, I would not advise that, because especially like wildlife involves long equipment, long lenses, and especially when you're shooting out there in the wild, trying to go down from the gypsy jeep, trying to shoot low angle, losing balance. So definitely, I would not recommend any of those things. So take a proper support. And in my case, when I have to do low level photography in wildlife, so the center seat of the gypsy is removed. I go in there and shoot at eye level from inside the gypsy. I never try to do any of the circus of trying to go low outside the jeep. None of those things. Okay. So Gauri, I don't know. Okay, Steve. I don't know what that comment was for. Best lens for insect photography. You need to go for a macro lens. Okay, again based on the budget. Okay, and guys, I will not be answering any of the questions which comes in. Mahesh, I'm very sorry. So what will be the setting for cloudy conditions? No, there is nothing called as a common or a magic setting. Please go back, get your basics right. Understand the exposure triangle parameters, be it in program mode, auto mode, ISO, aperture, shutter speed. Get that right. Okay. So there is nothing called as a secret, as a special setting when it comes to different lighting conditions. You as a photographer, you got to decide what you want based on these parameters. Okay. Okay, Samarth, that's a good one. Why is it that you don't get to see anything in Cabinet? Every time I go, I get to see it. Let me be very honest. I don't get to see any every time. Okay, it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of understanding, and one thing I've seen even in my workshops in other general tourists. So the thing which they lack is basically paying attention in the forest, lacking focus, concentration. So a lot of times, what happens is you expect the driver and guide to show you the things. You are like laid back, relaxed, talking, chatting with your friends in the vehicle, any of those things. You have your camera and you're like, driver, where's the tiger? Kahan pe hai? Like, show me the tiger. Or even the guard who comes with you. Okay, a lot of times, even in our workshops, in fact, the close-up leopard what we got, so that amazing, basically it was seen by one of the participants. So Mandira, basically she was in the back of the vehicle. The leopard had completely crouched, hidden in the grass. Everybody missed, including the driver. Okay, and we just drove past it. And Mandira, who was in the last seat, she at a very high, at a little bit height, she was sitting there, and she saw the leopard right beside the track, hidden in the grasses. And she's like, leopard, leopard, leopard. She's not even shouting. She's like, what if she shouts? The leopard goes away. So she's just whispering to the other folks. I think Nidhi was sitting beside her, and like, leopard, leopard, and like, Nidhi, like, where is it? Where is the leopard? And then just turned leopard right down over there. So we would have almost missed it. So it's all about luck, patience, perseverance, and then knowing your subject. Okay, a lot of times we try to listen to the forest, listen for the alarm calls. The driver knows if the alarm call is coming from that area and that the tiger or the leopard movement is happening like this, they go, we take a chance. Okay, it's all about multiple visits and paying attention in the forest. Yeah, Sudhindra, I try to wear bright colors depending on the background. Again, composition, background, foreground colors, complementary colors, what I've explained. Okay, Nishant, I would not recommend shooting in burst mode all the time. Only if action is happening, then the burst mode I would recommend, and nothing happens to the shutter. Okay, to be honest, don't try to limit your shooting thinking about what's going to happen with respect to the shutter count, all those things. My 1D Mark IV, which I used for a very, very long time, of course, a lot of you had inquired, my 1D Mark IV is already sold. Okay, so the shutter life of a 1D Mark IV is like 350,000 or 350,000. That is the shutter count. And I use it for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, I don't know, like 4 years probably. And that was one of my primary, or yeah, I always use this as backup, but a lot of shots I've shot. And 350,000 is the life of that. And I had shot only 60,000. Okay, not even halfway. Okay, so don't worry too much about the shutter count. Worst case scenario, it fails, just replace the shutter assembly. Not very expensive. Okay, so in the past I got it replaced, or a friend had replaced 7,000 rupees, 8,000 rupees, or something like that. Okay, so Jasmine, for bird photography, which binoculars you recommend? So in fact, yeah, so that's a good one. So binoculars for birding and any of those things. So recently Bishwaru from Rico, he had contacted, today morning he contacted me, and they're coming up with, it's already out there. So in association with WWF, already a lot of their binoculars are out there. So I'll be talking to them and see how I can basically share some of those information. So watch out for that. Good binoculars for birding. Nishant Lakotia, thank you. Digant, oops, again there you go, Digant. What setting we should keep for flying, fast moving subject? Get your exposure triangle parameters right. Okay, okay guys, some very interesting questions coming up. Bhopal, man, okay. Do I prefer Canon or Nikon? Whatever, everything works for me. In fact, people ask me saying, why is it that you should only Canon and why not Nikon? That you should be asking my sister, where I think 15, 20 years back, my sister, she presented me with Canon camera. So that is how I started shooting Canon. If she had presented me a Nikon camera that time, I would have been a Nikon photographer. Okay. Alright guys, I can just keep on going, but normally I cut it after an hour of discussion. Okay, so as I said, what I'll do is I'll get back, so after some time I'll go online, and a lot of those interesting queries which have come in, which I could not take up So I will try to answer as many queries as possible. And what is the best camera to use, what is the best lens to use, those things I will not answer, because I just want you to visit my website learn.sudhirshivaram.com. I have explained in detail, written article, and even you can subscribe to my online video tutorial on learn.sudhirshivaram.com again, where each of these are explained in detail about what is the best camera to buy, what is the best lens to buy for a given genre based on a budget. Everything is there in detail to spend some time over there. Okay. Okay, selfie time. Okay. Last question, Sudhindra. Okay, thank you. Any animals attack? Absolutely none. I'm right here in front of you. See, no scratches, nothing, no plastic surgery, nothing. Okay. You got to be really, really careful when you're out there in the wild. As I said, the animal behavioral aspect is quite important. Okay. And once again, my website link, learn.sudhirshivaram.com. Don't worry, I'll come back, comment for all those things, because that's important for you guys to know and for you guys to sign up. Okay, alright guys, thank you so much for joining in on this Thursday night. So I know folks from all over the world, they keep watching me, and thanks a lot for all those various compliments which you keep sending for all these live chats. So recently I've started my YouTube channel, and this one is going live on my YouTube channel as well. So I don't know like how many people are actually watching the YouTube channel, but hopefully slowly even it's going to start picking up, because the quality wise my YouTube channel is quite good, and that's purely for videos. All the videos are right there for you to watch anytime. Problem with Facebook is in timeline it just goes away. You have to go into the videos and then it's a small square box compared to the full HD 1080 what you get in YouTube. Okay, of course even Facebook is full HD, it's just a squarish thing what you get. Okay, so when will I be online again? So as I said, next 6 months I'm just right here, and the whole month of July I'm right here. Next week again I'll be talking to you on a different topic, and next week I'll make sure I get this right. Okay, so sorry about the fluid head, the setup. This worked, and then the lens plate, it has got jammed to my 800mm lens. It's just my Allen screw in the front, it got jammed. I couldn't just open it, so sorry about that. Okay, so next meeting time, normally I conduct it around this time, 9:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So that's when you folks would have finished your dinner, everything, and we can just sit and chat together. And yes, so Ajit, coming to Kenya, when am I traveling to Masai Mara? September 10th, I believe. September 10th, and in fact, my Masai Mara is actually full. I was looking for 8 people, and I have got the batch full as of now. If any more folks are interested, you are welcome to join. So I can extend another 4. Maximum seat is 12, or normally what I have. But the minimum required for me to run the tour, I am almost there. Looking for 1 seat also, almost there because of the cancellation. So Masai Mara in September I'll be traveling. Soham, can you be my assistant? I work alone. Sorry, thank you. Okay, and yeah, Prem, if you want to see this video again, go into Facebook page under videos. This will be there. Okay, and a lot of my previous videos are right there. Lot of information, lots and lots of information. Okay, alright guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining both on my Facebook as well as folks. I'm sorry, YouTube, I was not looking at the camera. I was looking at my Facebook camera over here all the time. And yeah, I will be trying to improve on the quality of this broadcast, especially for the Facebook and other things. The restriction what I have is I can't use a DSLR, because the application what I use is phone built, especially for Facebook. The Facebook Mentions app what I use, it uses the camera's inbuilt phone's inbuilt camera what it uses. So difficult to go high quality, but I know YouTube I should be able to do something. I'm working on improving the experience of this, trying to experiment even on Facebook Live itself, using different accessories, how exactly I can do, because recently I saw Scott Kelby go live, and then even a full HD complete theater screen is what he was having compared to my small square box. So I need to figure out how Scott Kelby did that, and see if I can incorporate some of those, even if it comes at a cost. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for joining in. Have a fantastic weekend coming up, and stay in touch. I'll come back and answer all those queries. Take care and good night. Bye bye. Cool. And oh yeah, YouTube, I have to come that side and I have to stop that. Okay. Take care, folks on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. Bye bye. Good night.